Once again, America has gone out of control. Once again, we have been fighting for equality and justice, screaming bloodshed, violence all over the place. A year so dreadful, so painful, so terrifying that forces you to grow and act in such impulsive manners. A year that screams so loud, finally awakening us from our ignorant slumber. A year in which we felt the need to change, work for a change, and become the change. A place where there were dreams supposed to be made, now filled with darkness and danger. Who could have imagined something as sweet as honey could turn into something this sour in the blink of an eye? The feeling of sadness and worries that people might have felt. Once again, the year 2020 in America was a year of disaster and destruction. On Wednesday, we turned on the TV to see the events that shocked us to the core. The people who claim to be patriotic and elite tearing the Capitol down. People climbing walls in such a disrespectful way as if they own the place. People not even thinking about consequences and what they are doing to the public. To the people who claim to be civilized and mannered, acting like animals. This could have been stopped by the ones who swore to protect, but instead they opened the floodgates to the terrorists.
All of this, instigated by the person who swore to protect the people. But not all the people, only his people. He protects only his people, people that don't challenge him, people that have bleached skin. Freedom of speech, not for my people. We march on the streets, no freedom till we're equal. People will open those gates with no hesitation, but mace my people with the strength of all nations. We watch in amazement at the faces of 100 racists. The civilized people at the Capitol scaling fences. Back the blue, they screamed at our protests, but now out of anger they attacked the armed forces. The confidence of the people to take a seat in Nancy Pelosi's chair. The confidence of the people to pose with an American statue. The courage for the people to set foot into the Capitol. The privilege they hold but always deny. The privilege they hold but claim it's a lie. America the free, America the brave. But what America doesn't see is that we're all out of place. America, land of the free. America, the land that's not for me. We will never concede, he says, and up the white walls they go. Down go the windows that spray their shattered glass. They lie for their pride while we fight for ours. America, land of the free.
Why? United we stand, divided we fall. Now it's divided we stand as we watch each other fall. United we could get through anything as long as we put our minds to it. United that is. Why? All men are equal, but what about the women? Are the African American, Hispanic, and everyone else included? Why? America another name for opportunity. America, land of the free. America, the land that's not for me. The America that was once great has now become a despair for many. A place in which they only discriminate and incriminate those who aren't normal. Why? Why do this? Why lie? Why hurt? As a community, we should stand together, not apart. Stand up for each other in times of need and hurt. Why kill? Why push people down for your loss? Shouldn't we be standing up against murder together? Why fight against the people you should be friends with? Why choose violence?
Why? Aren't there other ways to solve our problems? Because you all choose to listen to and follow the wrong person. Protest parties do not have a meaning. Protest parties cry against the wrong to be right. Most of the wrongs are not new. We, the people, get to make the choice. Protest parties always turn into something disastrous and disgusting. Protest parties should be a gathering to get your voice across, not a riot that disturbs the whole world. Why should people have to suffer for trying to make the world a better place? And why do the ignorant people get to rebel against the government when what the people did was something good for our society? People are the one who gets to choose which protest parties they're on. Protest parties voice their own exploration and vision of the truth, of truths larger than themselves. Climbing walls to get to Mexico when the wall was built to keep the illegal immigrants out of the United States. At the end, it comes back to the people and what they choose at their version of the truth. Protest parties.
Police are supposed to assist. Police are supposed to stand against injustice. Police instead cause a blitz. Police are the face of injustice. Some say black people are bad people, and they are chaos, but it will always be black versus white. White will always be the color of the background, and black will be the prominent color on the paper. But if it were black people, they would shoot. They say we are supposed to be equal. They say we are a family. But nobody was granted equal or a family. Political violence aware. exploits silence over there. This unprecedented breach brought out of our nation's reach. When passing a law of ordinance, they're not asking, they're telling, accepting it as a shameful yet normal process, and yet they're still rebelling. Political violence aware continues to stir up in the air. Eyes of the innocent, lies of the guilty, rising tides of the assassins, criminal political movements. Wait, what about our nation's own improvement? Up until now, I see a cunning devil in disguise. It's our fear, much to my surprise. Political violence we bear. What can we do down here? To solve our problems, we must acknowledge that all of our identities are complex. We fix the damage, work together to finally achieve success. We preserve our democracy, equal rights, and freedoms, and as a whole, our country will be set in gold.
We the people, have we forgotten that phrase? The words passed down from our founding fathers on their holy days. We give power to the vigorous eagles above, but the ones below us are not fragile mice. Their voices shall not be silenced or shunned. America is a melting pot filled with cultures and flavors from all across the lands. But once you add a pinch of lies along with a dash of salt, you turn something savory into sand. We the people are gullible and can be controlled by the lies of others, appointing a serial killer with the media as his prey to divide and conquer, to the point that we worship him comparable to an evil cult, letting him manipulate us as if we were his puppets tied to a rope, for he only uses his words to use others but never to help them, then sprouts anger and fury with juicy lies as a stem. We the people are blinded and can block the veracity, causing all kinds of destruction to our country's capacity, breaking down windows and climbing up the walls. Why are we attacking the place that gives justice to all, taking away the red, white, and blue, taking away the freedom and democracy from me and you?
All the while, we watch the fear enveloping us. A crazed mob is breaching the Capitol. The blood of America has spilt. The police have become unfair, while peaceful black protesters were beaten and called thugs. The crazed mob who attacked were seen as no threat, climb the walls, break the windows. They tear down the barriers, but still no police force. They cause destruction, disrespect, they incite fear. No one is there to stop them. There are no longer people, instead they are wild monkeys attacking the Washington Capitol, climbing over the gates with their vine-like ropes. Their wild behaviors caused even the bravest police officers to fear them. The once peaceful Washington Capitol has now turned into a wild jungle.
The wild shattered the heart of our democracy, leaving nothing behind but just pieces of glass to step on. The wild stormed in to terrorize our very soul, guns ready to shoot down our morals and values. The wild cheered for their violence without considering our bare pain. The wild believed his every word, even after he crumbled our society. The wild shred the fabric of our land, which our country stood for. There are no Americans to our eyes. They're the wild. The wild behavior coming from those who had just broken the windows, the wild way they carried out their plans from inside the building, screaming and cheering, echoed from the Capitol. It worsens as more try to flood in. Defenses grow tired as some are nowhere to be seen. Driving out the driven is harder than we thought. The wild is as prideful as they are foolish. The building is damaged and the wild are to blame.
Doors of liberty have been demolished from acts of treachery. Proclaiming its revolution, it has brought its citizens worry. The Capitol, which represents America, the people, was turned by the virtue of their trivial fury. The lives of valorous fighters came across wild crowds of imprudence. Oh, the wild have displayed such nuisance. The wild have attacked the Capitol as if it is very sensible. Little do they know they've violated America's principle. Them wild affirmed they were doing everyone a favor, yet America has recognized their true wild endeavor. We ended 2020 in a tragedy. We started 2021 at the edge of a balcony.
What happened that day was nothing more than a tragedy. Starting a revolution was their unsolicited strategy. Tragic is all it is. It's disastrous and dreadful. Yet many have turned their backs. Tragic is the violence in killings, as they see no wrong in this violent attack. Tragic is the riots and the political unrest making nothing but a crazy nest.
Tragic is the well-known white supremacy. Tragic is the Blue Lives Matter that transcends over other horrid activities. Tragic is what seeing a nose in 2021 looks like. Tragic is officers dying from injuries and committing suicide from trauma. Some try to push it back, but it's not enough. They continue to march in looking for a fight. Is that right? No, it's not. But all we do is watch. We are watching and fear envelops us. A crazed mob is breaching the Capitol. A change is strongly needed. Despite the laws and bases of our land, we live in a country where many are conceited. They stormed the beloved Capitol, having many to witness their radical attacks. We need to come together with unity. There needs to be change. They were not protesters, they were terrorists who tried to silence the work of democracy. We the people who need to change.
Society, the events that unfold led to an emotion of shock. Surprised that people who loved the nation decided to destroy it, leaving those who fought for the freedom of others upset by the treatment they received. We marched down the street to find and make some peace.
They'll notice one day, What about our society is great? No love, no peace, no respect. Let the next one try their best to rebuild and take away the distress. What will become of us if such a disappointment rules 4 more years? He said it was okay to peacefully protest, but peace was avoided and violence was added. He said he wouldn't stand for George Floyd's protest, but when it was for him, he watched from a distance and supported. He said, "Let's make America great again." In vain, he made it worse.
Society, it's time we change, because in reality, not everything we hear is true. Many are losing faith in their country, hearing the cries of mothers, seeing innocent people die every minute of the day. In reality, violence is never the answer. Thus, not everything we hear is accurate. Society.
It's not fair. BLM protesters were punished for fighting to restore their rights, but the crimes of the Trump rioters were praised to be all right. Protesters fought with their blood and soul and shed tears from their eyes, while Trump rioters were manipulated through Trump's lies. The color of your skin being light lets you get away with committing evil crimes, but being dark-skinned makes you a prey for evil? It's just not fair.
We all fear the unknown, especially with all the violence and the riots. The desperate cries pleading for help echoing through the streets. It's not easy, When will society live up to its name of freedom and peace? Many said they will make it all okay, but in reality, nothing seemed to get better. Instead, we witnessed lives being taken, coup d'etats, and vicious actions. Do we have to keep living in fear? It's time we rise. We rise through the laughs and inhumane insults every day. We rise through the misconception of our stereotypes and through unequal pay. We rise through the endless battle of keeping smiles on our faces despite the catcalling around us. We rise through the constant fear of walking alone at night. We rise having the courage to express ourselves through clothes and sexuality without fearing the opinions of others. We rise feeling confident in our bodies regardless of the unjust beauty standards society has placed on us. We rise now feeling proud of ourselves. We rise. Proud to be women, we rise.